Witness a classic illusion in both business and military history, the belief that massive scale can crush any opponent through sheer weight and overwhelming physical numbers. When you have 700,000 troops in a massive arsenal, you think failure is impossible. But the trap of size is often a deadly illusion. A drone costing only a few $100s is now capable of destroying a multi-million-dollar main battle tank, signaling the collapse of a giant doctrine. The battlefield in Ukraine during the summer of 2026 is proving that quantity alone no longer dictates the outcome of modern high-tech industrial conflicts. Russian forces have increased their attack intensity by 40%, launching 7,000 assaults, yet the results on the ground are shockingly minimal for the cost. They have gained only 14 square kilometers of territory, a figure that becomes effectively negative when accounting for the strategic areas Ukraine has successfully retaken recently. Why is a massive monster being tied down and bled dry? The answer lies not in troop numbers, but in the total collapse of outdated systemic thinking. In this video, we will decode how a smaller entity breaks a giant by using an asymmetric strategy known as the total logistics lockdown of the enemy. This is a harsh lesson in systems thinking. When your quality is low, your effort to increase quantity will eventually turn against you with devastating tactical consequences. Lanchester Square Law states that if you lack technological quality, you must increase your numbers exponentially, not just linearly, to maintain a balance of power. Russia is currently trapped in this cycle around the Pokrovsk axis. Facing precise artillery and swarms of drones, they are burning through equipment at an unsustainable rate. Over 1,600 heavy armored vehicles have been lost in just 10 months in a single sector, proving that industrial capacity cannot keep up with consumption. When you are forced to bring out tanks from the 1950s, your system has lost its ecological balance. Scale without technology is just scrap metal waiting to burn. A T-90M takes months to build due to missing Western components, yet is destroyed in 2 minutes by a cheap FPV drone from a local workshop. The second lesson: do not strike the shield. Cut the lifeline of the one holding it. Traditional leaders focus on the front line where direct combat happens. Ukraine has implemented a logistics lockdown strategy. Instead of engaging in traditional artillery duels, they use medium-range drones to strike deep into the enemy supply arteries. They have turned the enemy's rear area into a circle of fire. Without fuel and ammunition, a massive army of soldiers becomes a collection of static targets. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense uses the E-point system, a form of gamification for war. Units that destroy high-value logistical targets receive immediate resource rewards and funding. This decentralized management creates a competitive market for innovation. It allows small, agile teams to achieve strategic effects that traditional, rigid military hierarchies simply cannot match. History proves that logistics is the invisible spine of any army. Once you snap that spine, the entire giant body will eventually collapse under its own weight. Why can a nation under total war outperform a superpower in technology? The difference lies in the system architecture, moving from top-down to a networked model. Russia operates a top-down, Soviet-style military bureaucracy. Fake success reports are pushed upward to please leadership, leaving the command center blind to real reality. In contrast, Ukraine has created an open innovation ecosystem. They removed administrative barriers, allowing hundreds of civilian startups and independent engineers to join the war effort. It is a free market of ideas within a conflict. A slow, bureaucratic machine can never keep up with thousands of creative minds operating in a flat network. This stalemate will be broken by technological adaptation at key points. When drone networks break enemy communications, deep armored thrusts can finally cut the land bridge. The lesson of 2026 is clear. Scale is only an advantage if you can operate with agility. Otherwise, your size becomes your own grave. Can the giant wake up before its spine is completely broken? Subscribe for more strategic insights and listen to our full analysis on Spotify to stay connected. This small device, made from cheap parts, is rewriting the rules of engagement and making the once mighty tank look like a relic of the past. The million-dollar fortress is blinded and helpless against a threat that costs less than a laptop, proving that price does not equal survival on the battlefield. Precision is the new quantity. A single accurate strike on a fuel depot is worth more than 1,000 blind shells fired at an empty trench line. When the cost of offensive operations exceeds the value of the gained land, the system is in a state of terminal decline and eventual collapse. Every drone pilot is a high-value asset, capable of delivering strategic damage from the safety of a bunker, miles away from the direct line of fire. The speed of the silicon chip has overtaken the strength of the steel plate. This is the fundamental shift in the architecture of modern global warfare. In this environment, the traditional tank has nowhere to hide. Its thermal signature is a beacon for thousands of eyes watching from the sky above. Old-world command structures are struggling to adapt to real-time data. By the time an order is signed, the target has already been destroyed by a drone. The desperation to fill gaps with museum pieces shows the failure of the industrial base. You cannot fight a 21st century war with mid-century equipment. Ukraine tracks every move in the rear. They wait for the perfect moment to strike the most vulnerable link in the long chain of supply. Cutting the rail lines is like cutting the arteries of the giant. Once the flow of steel and fuel stops, the front line quickly starves. The E-point system bypasses the slow military treasury. It moves capital to where the results are, fueling a continuous cycle of lethal innovation and success. No armor can protect against a drone that can fly through a window or an open hatch. The precision of the pilot defeats the thickness of steel. The democratization of war means anyone with a soldering iron and a 3D printer contribute to the destruction of the enemy's most expensive assets. Time is the enemy of the giant. While it takes months to repair one tank, 100 new drones are built in the time it takes to launch. The era of the heavy machine is ending. The future belongs to the small, the many, and the incredibly smart systems that connect them together. Swarm intelligence is the final nail in the coffin of the giant doctrine. 100 drones attacking from every direction at once is impossible to stop. Tradition and prestige mean nothing when the logic of the system fails. The giants of the past are being buried by the innovators of the present. We are seeing the birth of a new military science, one where intelligence and adaptability are more valuable than raw horsepower and heavy armor plating. This is not just a war of soldiers, it is a war of systems, and the more rigid system will always lose to the one that can evolve. When the top of the pyramid cannot see the bottom, the structure is already dead. All that remains is the final collapse of the entire organization. Every destroyed tank is a lesson for the world. The age of armored dominance has been replaced by the age of the ubiquitous lethal aerial sensor. Precision at scale is the ultimate weapon. It allows a smaller force to act like a giant while making the giant feel small and vulnerable everywhere. Ukraine's manufacturing is a network of nodes. If you strike one, 10 more appear elsewhere. It is an unkillable industrial organism designed for total survival. War has become content, and content is a tool for recruitment and funding. The digital world is now inseparable from the physical reality of the front. The eye in the sky never sleeps. It sees the fuel trucks, it sees the ammo dumps, and it sees the fear in the enemy's eyes. Psychological warfare is amplified by the constant presence of drones. The enemy knows they are being watched every second of every day and night. Striking the source of the enemy's wealth is the ultimate logistics lockdown. Without oil, the giant cannot move, and without money, it cannot fight. Isolating Crimea is the ultimate strategic goal. By disrupting its logistical backbone, Ukraine can force Crimea's collapse without a large-scale, bloody direct attack. This is a whole-of-nation effort. The system architecture includes every citizen, every engineer, and every gamer who can fly a drone with lethal precision. The graveyards of the 20th century are being filled with the pride of the 21st. It is a grim reminder that technology waits for no one. Virtual reality is now the reality of war. The pilots are safe in bunkers, but their influence is felt across hundreds of kilometers of contested territory. Every week, a new design appears. The evolution of drone technology is moving at the speed of software development, far outpacing any traditional military hardware. The generational gap in military thinking is a fatal flaw. You cannot lead a digital army with an analog mindset and hope to win. The world is watching and learning. The fall of the tank doctrine in Ukraine will change the defense strategies of every major power on the planet. Speed, agility, and precision. These are the three pillars of the new war. If you have them, you don't need 1,000 tons of steel armor. Individual soldiers now have the power of an entire artillery battery in their hands. This is the ultimate decentralization of lethal military force and power. It's not just the land. The sea and the air are also being dominated by these small, cheap, and highly effective autonomous and semi-autonomous systems. Innovation is driven by culture, not just budget. A culture of freedom and creativity will always out-innovate a culture of fear and rigid vertical. Control. Every battery charge is a potential kill. The logistics of electricity are becoming as important as the logistics of diesel fuel and heavy explosive shells. Freedom is being defended by the very technology that was supposed to be a toy. The toy has become the most feared weapon on Earth. The evidence is undeniable. The giant is bleeding and its old ways are dying. We are witnessing the most significant shift in warfare since the invention of gunpowder. New fiber-optic drones are immune to jamming. This technological leap will finally break the electronic shield that has protected the giant's remaining armored columns. The strategic trap is closing. Without a way to move supplies, the massive Russian presence in the south will become an unsustainable burden and prison. The giant's fall will be slow, but it is inevitable. Its own weight and refusal to adapt have made it the victim of its own outdated philosophy. Don't get left behind in the old world. Join us as we continue to decode the strategies that are changing our future and the nature of power. Size is only an advantage if you are flexible. In the new era, the small and the smart will always find a way to topple the giant. Thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more deep dives into the science of modern strategic conflict.